today's issue, we will look at the Buhari and the Malami, terrorism and the judicial manipulations not part of United Nations treaties. UN and the diplomats says bye-bye Nigeria. Nigeria is noted to be a member of international organizations, especially the United Nations, the African Union, and the West African Economic Community Group. Nigeria has played an important role in these very organizations and have signed various treaties and promised to abide by its laws and the regulations within the treaties and within the confinement of the United Nations. Again, United Nations is the custodian of all the judiciary amongst those who signed the treaties. Buhari government should realize that United Nations has jurisdiction over Nigeria. It's a custodian of the legal system. It operates International Court of Justice, International Criminal Court, International Criminal Tribunals, Human Rights Committee that comprises of various subcommittees. The Human Rights Committee is the United Nations Human Rights Treaty body responsible for overseeing implementation of international covenant on civil and political rights through its consideration of state reports, individual complaints, interstate complaints, and its preparations of general comment within the 173 states that are party to International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights, of which Nigeria is a part and had his treaty appended. That is the main reason why the provisions of fundamental human rights in Nigerian Constitution is being applied in all its justice system. These are the main reasons why the international community, the diplomats, and the United Nations as a whole are watching the Nigerian judicial system, its independence and interferences by the Nigerian government, especially Nigerian Justice Minister in the name of Malami and the Nigerian President Muhammadu Buhari in their case with Nnamdi Kanu of indigenous people of Biafra. Again, we will have to recap that the judicial independence is the ability of courts and the judges to perform their duties free of influence or control by other actors, whether government or private. Making reference to this, in the recent Appeal Court that took decision on the case of Nnamdi Kanu and the federal government of Nigeria, whereby the judges took decision after considerations and acquitted and discharged Nnamdi Kanu. Then the interference by Nigerian government and the Minister of Justice as well as the Security Council is abomination in the circle of justice. More penitent is that after the judgment, it was reported that the 3 judges have been transferred to provide the opportunity for the government to constitute a new group of judges that will undertake the case. This was reported apparently by the following newspapers. 1, the Premium Times Nigeria, Sahara Reporters, Daily Post Nigeria, Vanguard News Nigeria, This Day Nigeria, Business Hallmark Nigeria, Whistlers Nigeria. These were reported between 23rd to 25th October 2022. For Nigeria that had its independence, and especially the government of Buhari that relates very closely to Britain and its allies, it should be noted that the formal grantees of judicial independence from government control dates back to 1701. when England's Act of Settlement granted judges explicit protection from unilateral removal from the crown in the context of a larger shift of power towards Parliament and the courts. The United Nations and the European Union also guarantees the independence of judiciary. Example of this is illustrated in the case between Poland and the European Union, whereby Poland wanted to impose its political power over the judiciary. This was entirely rejected by the European Union. It is understood at the diplomatic circle that rejection of the Court of Appeal decision, refusal to release the leader of indigenous people of Biafra as directed by appeal courts is another way of inviting problem within the political circle of Nigeria. Again, the alert being given by the United States and other diplomats, intelligence reports that dangerous things, the ISWAPs, the bandits, and the Fulani hitmen are planning attack which may be launched in Abuja, Nigeria. We will watch the various speakers on the reasons why problems of Nigeria is increasing daily under the leadership of Muhammadu Buhari and his ethnic groups. You are implored to listen carefully and see reason why many Nigerians from various backgrounds are seeing the government of Buhari as a terrorist organization sponsoring terrorism in Nigeria by applying the Afghanistan system of handover to the Islamic group. From there, you will also see reasons why Nnamdi Kanu is being attacked for exposing their plans. God has exposed all this to Nnamdi Kanu, who later made it known to all the indigenous people of Nigeria to note what is to come. At the diplomatic level, the diplomats and the United Nations and those who monitor the security system of the world, the United States and other allies in Nigeria, had come out to give an alert on the potential attack in Abuja.
Rapidly degenerating.
2011 Abuja United Nations bombing, whereby there was a car bomb explosion on a Friday, 26th August 2011 in Nigerian capital Abuja. This also they remembered, and as well as also the Kuje prison attack, of which Arebosola reveals how terrorists overpowered 65 military personnel that were guarding the Kuje prison. So with all this, the diplomats would not want a repeat of this and give their lives for nothing so good to their families and their countries of origin. They record that over 600 inmates of the custodial center, including 64 high-profile Boko Haram members, were set free by the government, who also killed several people. Alert they gave the government of Nigeria is disputing has also been seen taking effect in Somalia. On 30th of October 2022, just last week, there was a car bomb explosion that killed over 100 people and destroyed lots of properties. These are the precautionary measures the international community want to avoid and prevent, but the Nigerian government is attacking them on that very note. The question is, where will Nigerians run to? Where will those who are living around Abuja run to? Well, personal precaution is therefore needed for whosoever that is to survive the situation and tension. But we pray let it not happen. we watch this, we will watch it carefully and step by step and note all the comments, all the words of the speakers.
And a political and social conflict between the federal government and the constituent groups. Fueling this separatist movement is the government's sense of impunity, the widespread poverty in the country, the chronic underdevelopment and worsening levels of insecurity, especially the threat posed by the attacks of nomadic Fulani headsmen. Questions are being raised. Is this government unwittingly radicalizing the public against itself? We'd also examine these complex issues and other legal issues associated with Nnamdi Kanu's arrest, trial, and the agitations from the southeast. We have Barrister Malcolm Omehobo. It's a pleasure having you on Sahara TV again, sir.
I'm grateful to be here.
Barrister, Nigeria seems to be in a conundrum at this point in time with regards to the trial of Nnamdi Kanu and other secessionist movements across the country. Questions are being raised as to the fact that is this government, this Buhari-led government, is it unwittingly radicalizing the public against itself? What's your reaction?
My reactions is like yours or every other Nigerian citizen, that the government is responsible for what's happening in the country today. You call these people separationists. They are not really separationists. They are agitators. We have not gotten to the level of separationists. When we get to that level, the government will know. And that is the next level. After agitation, it gets to a situation where people will say we must leave, and that's the stage we are about to get to. The government ordinarily, why would the government fail to listen to people? People agitating, asking for their rights. What rights are they even asking for? Right to life. Right to life. We as a people, we have been given life, right to life by God. It's a right that no man can take from you. But we have surrendered it to the state and say, okay, I give you my life, protect me. The state cannot protect the people. And the people we're not even talking about political positions. We're not talking about food now. We are talking about life, for God's sake. The government cannot protect our lives. So people are now saying that, are we second-class citizens? Are we not human beings? Can't you protect our lives even though we cannot feed? So the government has created that position. They want you to discuss, but they know that you will not succeed because of this evil document called the 1999 Constitution. It has made it so glaring that you cannot, from the south, you cannot pass a bill. It's not possible. It will take the camel to pass the eye of the needle than for you to pass any bill that will talk about sitting down and looking at the structure of restructuring this country. It will never happen. These people will never allow it to happen. So the government has failed to listen to the people, and that has led to agitation. I am not blaming Sunday Igboho. I am not blaming Kanu. They have done the right thing in the circumstance. They have come out to defend their people. They might have been doing it. That's the only way possible, because the government is not listening. And let me tell you, we are going to have more Igbohos and we are going to have more Kanu. Yes, I am telling you, we have major 250 ethnic nationalities in Nigeria. I will tell you what, that the federal government, they should be ready for it, because there's going to be agitation even from the north, even from Katsina. In the south here, we just believe that it is you just have Hausa and Fulani alone in the north. No, we even have more ethnic nationalities in the north than we have in the south. Do you know, in the whole West, we have just Yoruba. In the whole East, we have just Igbos. If you go to Adamawa, from this street to this street, you see different people. They don't speak the same language. They don't have the same culture. The only thing they have in common is that they are living side by side. They are neighbors and they respect themselves. They are not. Some are not Christians. Some are not Muslim. So these people now, they are now becoming aware of what the government is doing, that they want to Fulanize this country. They want to grab the whole land and take everything. Now, how can you explain a situation like this? You arrest agitators, but you refuse to arrest bandits. You arrest agitators, but you refuse to arrest terrorists, people who have shot down a country's aircraft, people who have posted a flag in Minna less than 2 hours to your capital. Have you ever heard about that story? It has died down because the government is a terrorist. I repeat, the Nigerian government is a terrorist government. If let us call a spade and let us not pretend about it. Igbo and Kanu are not supposed to be on trial. It is Buhari that is supposed to be on trial. Buhari is very unpatriotic Nigeria. I'm saying it without, I'm not mising word. Buhari is a very unpatriotic Nigeria. In fact, he should be tried for treason. I'll tell you why. Some time ago, Buhari went to America, sat down there comfortably, discussing with the President of America, telling the President of America that our problem stems from Libya, that people who were fighting in Libya after the war had brought in arms and ammunition, sophisticated arms and ammunition to the Sahel, and have trickled down to Nigeria, and they are the cause of the instability in Nigeria, making it clear that it is not Nigerians that are causing our problems. They are foreigners. He went to London, he repeated this thing. Many other state governors in the north, what's his name now? Danguje, the Bauchi governor, they have said this problem is not being caused by Nigerians. That there are some people, some Fulanis from the other countries coming into Nigeria as a result of the ECOWAS protocol of movement. They've come into Nigeria and they are the ones causing this problem. Now, if these are established facts, would you prefer these foreigners to your own countrymen? Why will you allow these foreigners to be killing your own countrymen, and you refuse your fellow compatriots? You're allowing them to kill them and you're not doing anything. You're allowing them to shut down your educational system. They kidnap children, rape them, sodomize them, ask for ransom. Nobody's been arrested. Nobody's being prosecuted. What do you call that? Is that not being the act of lack of patriotism? Is that not treason? But you now people.
Now you have to look at the next speaker, who will give us his own knowledge of what he understands that is happening in Nigeria. This will come and we will listen to him as well. As we wait to hear from him, we will also get to know who is cheating who and what is happening in Nigeria. Now we listen to somebody else. After the establishment of a radio station, we know what Nigerians think about the Fulani radio station opened by Nigerian government to enhance the movement of the Fulanis. Wherever they are, they signal them. Where they receive, they go ahead to attack any community they want. Attack on the communities are done through the communication of this very radio station. we look at it and see what a Nigerian is going to say about it.
Controversy has continued to throw the introduction, or should we say the establishment of Fulani radio for the Fulanis in Nigeria. What's your reaction to this?
Well, it's very simple. You know, Nigeria does not belong to either the Fulanis or the Kanuris or the Yorubas or the Igbos. Nigeria is a secular state, you know, and this was stated in Section 10 of the Constitution that the country is a secular state, is not a Fulani republic, and therefore I think it's something that is very wrong completely. And I don't know who is advising this government, but whoever is advising this government, you know, they do not even care about the optics, you know, and that is very worrisome. You know, we have the Federal Radio Corporation of Nigeria, FRCN, there. So if they feel that they needed a program, you know, for the Fulanis, they will have just given them some, you know, radio time, an hour on that platform of government, and you know, that will have been enough. You know, we also have the
Tester gesucht. Wir suchen Personen, die dieses unsichtbare Hörgerät aus.
So many of the offices in the northern part of the country. So I do not see why the federal government needs to use federal government funds to establish an ethnic radio. You know, it's a very, very bad, you know, exercise. You know, and that's why they just it gives credence to some of the allegations that former President Buhari has made. You know, on that there seems to be an agenda to Fulanize the country. Yeah,
I was going to ask that about Obasanjo, because first it was 100 billion naira for the Mieti Ala, which even the federal government has come out to deny, even though people are still insisting that they promised them the money. And now the radio station for the Fulanis. How would you agree with Obasanjo on this?
Shouldn't my people, shouldn't the federal government, since the federal government is in an act of, you know, generosity, shouldn't the federal government also establish a radio station for the Okun-speaking people of Kogi State? Shouldn't they establish a radio station too for the Nupes? Shouldn't they establish a... Why are the Fulani so important that the federal government of Nigeria need to establish a radio station?
Considering that Fulani is not a major language.
Exactly. You know, because, you know, it seems the president doesn't really care about the mood of the country. The Fulani headsmen have been labeled to be the fourth deadliest terrorist group in the world. Yes, and these guys have caused havoc almost everywhere they have gone. Look at how violent the president was against IPOB. Hundreds of them were killed. Shouldn't we be killing Fulani headsmen instead of giving them a radio station? You understand? So if the president was so emotional about killing members of IPOB, and he went further to designate them as terrorists, and also prescribe IPOB, shouldn't we prescribe Fulani headsmen? Shouldn't we, also designate them as terrorist organizations in this country? They've killed and killed and killed and continue to kill. So why compensate bad behavior? You understand? So this is some of the questions that we know we need to ask ourselves as citizens of our country, and these are the reasons why people have serious doubt about the country. And this is why, again, you cannot blame those who no longer have faith in the country, the leadership of the country. But it's unfortunate, you know, as citizens of our country, we must continue to have faith in the country. But, you know, Nigeria is passing through such a very, you know, trying times.
Talking about Nigeria, you tweeted with the quote, Fulani radio is trending. Nigerians must absent by force. God bless Baba Buhari. What are you referring to?
It's a satire, you know, just on simple that, you know, because Nigerians, you know, have demonstrated during the last recently conducted general election that they do not have sense.
Is the direct sponsor of insecurity and terrorism in Nigeria. Ask me for the evidence. Good. I just gave you confession of Kawu Baraje. That's number one. Number two, Mieti Allah made a public statement that if you want peace in your state, don't call enmity. Provide land for Fulanis in your state. Public statement. Mieti Allah. Miyetti Allah is a collaborator with the ruling party. We had a report that the ruling party funded Miyetti Allah to the tune of 100 billion. I wasn't there when the payment was made, but that's in the public domain. We had an official report that the government of Nigeria was going to establish a radio station in collaboration with Miyetti Allah, where Fufude, the Fulani tribal dialect, will be the language of communication. Now, interestingly, you asked me for facts. We have it on the authority of the Ondo State government that the PRO of Miyetti Allah in Ondo State led the criminal suspect gang that killed Parafa Shoranti's daughter. That is on the authority of the Ondo State government. And they have been arrested. And the leader of the gang is the PRO of Miyetti Allah in Ondo State. We have it on the authority of the Nigerian police that a headsman was arrested with a military rifle in Plateau State. I have the number of the rifle. I can send it to you by SMS. I just need to check my records. I have the rifle number. We have it on the authority of retired Colonel Nnamdi that the Fulani headsmen repelled in Ogoja were using Nigerian army rifles from the barracks in that vicinity, and that the soldiers came to collect the rifles back. Now, who is the commander-in-chief of the Nigerian Armed Forces? Who should be responsible for the activities of these armed forces? We have it on the authority of General Danjuma. Danjuma has commanded these forces. We have it on the authority of General Danjuma that the armed forces are conniving with the bandits that are killing citizens. How much more evidence do you want? How much more evidence? We have hard physical evidence. We have testimonies from relevant authorities. How much more evidence do you want to know that the ruling party in Nigeria, the APC, is the sponsor of insecurity and terrorism? How much more evidence? I don't need any more evidence. I am 1000% convinced, and nobody has contrary evidence. The APC, the ruling party in Nigeria, is the direct sponsor of terrorism and insecurity in Nigeria.
That is damning. For the fact that the Nigerian government sponsored terrorism has finally been institutionalized under this Buhari's regime.
I forgot one point. The trial in Dubai. The trial in Dubai, where some Nigerians were convicted for terrorism financing in Nigeria. The published report said that they were traced to people high up in government. So how much more evidence do we need? All the evidence is out there. But as a people, because materialism and corruption has weakened us as a people, we are not able to stand up for anything. Money is stronger than truth. Any community where money is stronger than truth is ruined. Truth is the foundation. Any environment, even if it's a family,
we look at the diplomatic level, the alert from the United States that made the government to react.
Irresponsible while urging Nigerians to remain calm. The National Security Advisor, the Minister of Foreign Affairs, the Chief of Defense Staff, and as well as the head of the Nigerian Intelligence Agency, all jointly briefed State House correspondents at the end of the emergency security meeting chaired by President Muhammadu Buhari. According to the NSA, Babagana Monguno, the meeting basically was to discuss the recent happenings within the Federal Capital Territory and certain declarations and alerts coming from various quarters, insinuating growing insecurity and threat to security within the FCT and environments. He says the country and the capital remain secured, contrary to the alerts issued by citizens to their citizens living in the capital of Abuja. Meanwhile, Nigeria's Police Inspector General Alkali Baba Usman, he's dismissed the travel advisories issued by the US, UK, and some Western countries to their citizens on elevated terror threats in Abuja as fake news. He appeals to the Nigerian media not to transmit such news stories, describing them as inciting, fake, and demeaning. The IGP was speaking at the inauguration of modern police stations in Delta and Edo states in continuation of his infrastructural and capacity building drive to motivate personnel towards effective policing.
Forget about all this international conspiracy and efforts to bring down the efforts of government. Unnecessary security alerts that does not have any meaning. And therefore, I also want to appeal to our media that you should not be used as tools of transmitting false news, fake news, inciting news that are fake, that are meant to bring us down. If you have any good intention and you see that there is something that is coming to harm me, why can't you come and tell me that, look, there is something that is coming to harm you. This is how I have gotten the information. Try to see what you can do. Instead of saying, all my citizens, come back or don't go out on so-so date because there is going to be threat. You didn't tell me the security alert. You are in my country, or you are in my territory, or you are in my place. But you want to tell your people. I mean, it doesn't make sense. Be that as it may, be that as it may, we'll make efforts to douse it, and we are proving that what they are saying are not true. And even if it is true, we have taken measures to forestall it.
Well, joining us now to analyze the security situation in Nigeria and the likely impact on the conduct of the 2023 general elections against the backdrop of calls for the suspension of campaign are security analyst Dr. Kabir Adamu and Temitope Olodo. Great to have you both on Newsday. Thank you for joining us for this discussion.
Thank you for having me.
All right, Dr. Kabir.
Thank you, Hawa. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Let's start with you, Dr. Kabir. The last time we were on here, of course, discussing security situations. Now we have a situation where terror alert or terror advisory went out over the weekend. Of course, from the clip that we just played, it seems to be more of a power play that's going on enshrined in an ego battle. How much do we put ourselves in danger if we don't pay attention to all threats that are issued to us, whether or not they are real or fake? Is there a sense in just disregarding terror threats when they are issued, especially if they're not issued from our own authorities? Should this be something that we ignore, or should we be vigilant?
No, definitely we should be vigilant. Ever feed into an intelligence
Now, conclusively, we will look at the terror alert also given to Somalians and what happened on 30th of October 2022.
Other dead and injured will come out later. It is the second Zobe attack, and it is the same people and the same place.
Now we have seen all these interviews and what happened, both in Somalia on 30th of this month. They were also given the same alert as Nigerians. Nigerian government is trying to play it down, but to those who are experts in security, they are telling the Nigerian government not to play it down unless they are interested in making sure these attacks take place in Nigerian soil. They have been accused. Therefore, any incident that happens within this very period, government may be complicit. That is the situation in the security zone. Those who are living in Abuja should take their time and ensure that they never fall victim of Nigerian state, Nigerian denial. Much has happened. Nothing was taken serious. Kuje prison, they had a lot of security alerts. They played it down and it took place. With this, we come to the end of this very analysis and say Nigerian government has been accused, and you see reasons why the agitation is being supported despite the election coming up, and also the fear that the election come 2023 will not be peaceful, and if time is not taken, may not take place, because the terrorists are very much interested in ensuring that Nigerian state is either Fulanized or disintegrated. With this, we come to the end. We ask you to subscribe, share our video, give us thumb up, subscribe, leave your comment, press the notification bell, the icon, you push it, then you will receive all our videos as we publish them. With this, we ask you to remain blessed and be careful. For those who are in Nigeria, be watchful, and God will be with you all. Thank you very much. Bye.